What's up, guys? Brady here, coming at you with another video, and today we are once again talking Alter Bridge. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who watched my Alter Bridge review and watched my Alter Bridge album ranking video and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys so much. If you're an Alter Bridge fan, please hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be doing a whole lot more Alter Bridge content. They're my favorite band, so they're such an easy band for me to talk about. There's very little effort I have to put into doing research and taking notes. It's already on the hard drive for me. And they're a band that just has so many underappreciated songs. So this deep cut video is one that's really important to me because I love all 10 of these tracks. And to clarify just what I mean by deep cut kind of loosely refers to a song that's just underappreciated in a band's catalog. And with Alter Bridge, it's a little interesting because certain songs have almost become so appreciated for being deep cuts that they're not really deep cuts anymore. So there's not going to be any fan favorites on here. I love Words Darker Than Their Wings. It's one of my favorite songs from them, but it's not really a deep cut anymore because it's such a fan favorite. That's just one example, and we might be able to debate a little bit if a few of these songs classify as deep cuts, but all 10 of these tracks, in my opinion, are criminally underrated in the Alter Bridge catalog. I highly encourage you all to leave some of your favorite Alter Bridge deep cuts in the comment section of this video, and just to kind of wait out a few whatabouts, I will rattle off a few honorable mentions that I had. The End Is Here from One Day Remains is, I think, a song that borders on being a fan favorite, but it's just such an epic way to close out that album, and I still think it's probably a track that a lot of new listeners might miss. From Blackbird, I'll shout out Buried Alive. AB3, I will shout out Breathe Again, which might be my number 11 pick here. Also Make It Right. This Side of Fate from The Last Hero, and Walking on the Sky from Walk the Sky. Again, maybe songs that border on fan favorites just because they're more epic tracks. Last Man Standing off of Pawns and Kings. And off of the new record, it's kind of hard to say because it's still new, but I could see the track Disregarded kind of flying under the radar. So yeah, these are the top 10 Alter Bridge deep cuts. Number 10, I'm giving it Fallout from AB3. I love the dynamics in this song. It has so much going on. I mean, it's got that really subdued intro that just sounds really almost endearing at times. After the first chorus, you get this jazzy little lead section from Miles that I think is great. The song really balances out that somewhat oddly endearing nature given some of these darker lyrics with genuine darkness. And the song maybe reaches its high point in the middle when you get almost that breakdown part that absolutely fucking crushes. I love that riff. Lyrically, this is a favorite of all time, Alter Bridge-wise for me. I love Miles's take on almost a third-person narrative of somebody just struggling to get out of this void that they're stuck in. I think the song is really relatable to anybody who has struggled with things like mental illness or depression. AB3 overall is just such a dark horse record for Alter Bridge, and this is one of a few tracks that is a perfect window into overall the sonic landscape of AB3, just having these pretty drastic mood shifts at times, and just touching on all of these different subjects of grief and loss and struggling with faith and struggling with things like mental illness and getting out of voids like this song talks about. Number 9 is a B-side, one of a few B-sides on here, New Way to Live off of Blackbird. It's got this cold, barren, but almost desert-like intro with these really dreary, clean guitars. Miles' vocals come in the verses, and they sound absolutely haunting. Yet the song picks up for a relatively full-sounding chorus despite its somewhat sonic darkness, I guess. The song also really builds, and it's one of those tracks, one of a few tracks in the Alter Bridge catalog that feels short, despite the fact that it's somewhat longer. It's over 5 minutes. And while Blackbird overall is a much more sonically open-sounding record, this track feels a little bit more confined, and I think is somewhat of a preview of what they were going to do on AB3. Number 8, also from Blackbird, the track Brand New Start. Another track that just really captures the overall vibe of the album. Along with Wayward One later in the record, this song really captures the moody side of Blackbird, which again, like I just said, is a more sonically positive sounding record overall. And this song is a very mood-oriented listen. It's a great driving song, and just the way that the despair really rings in the verses. But yet the chorus brings kind of like this optimism that maybe, I mean, that might sound like conflicting moods, but Alter Bridge they make it work so well. Mood shifts are something that the band always pulls off well. Yet it never really feels like a full-on mood shift with this song. It's kind of hard to explain, but it all works together very cohesively.
We leave as one, we've just begun.
Number 7 is another one from AB3, All Hope Is Gone. This track is just like a drudgy, dirgy, depressive whirlpool of darkness. It's one of the darkest songs Alter Bridge has ever written. I mean, just read the fucking title. The first line of this song is one of my favorite Alter Bridge lyrics, period. A tireless stream of indifference flows through veins till the river runs dry. This song, it's so wrought with despair. I love how the clean guitars just groan. The way Miles sends off the chorus by just, again, almost groaning, all hope is gone. And then you still get a fairly dynamic and progressive and heavy bridge riff that, again, really fits the mood of the song. Lead guitar-wise, I think this is one of the brightest moments on AB3, just style-wise. Like I said, not sonically, Breaks is a very dark song, but I love the solo in this song. And again, this is just such a perfect window into the dark side of Alter Bridge and of AB3 in particular, which is arguably their darkest album to date. Number 6, I'm going to give to Season of Promise from Pawns and Kings. On the flip side, this song is very positive and radiant and warm. It feels like a big snug blanket. That's really the best way to describe the emotions and the feelings you get from listening to this track. This point's a little hard to describe, but I've always thought that Alter Bridge's music is very good for the fall season. And this song, Season of Promise, is one of my just go-to fall songs. I remember when it came out in October, I was listening to it and driving through this long road with all these colorful trees surrounding, and it was a total vibe. The warmth and almost nostalgia that this song brings to mind, it's done so well. It's one of the just most pleasant sounding songs in Alter Bridge's catalog, in my opinion, rivaling a track like Watch Over You even. That especially comes to life in the bridge of the song, with Miles' vocal harmonies and his background vocals, and the way that the bridge really ascends to and gets more full as it progresses. Number 5 is a song that borders, I think, on being a fan favorite, but it's off of Fortress, and the entirety of Fortress, I think, is almost fan favorite territory at this point. But that song is Calm the Fire. A massive highlight lyrically in the Alter Bridge catalog for me, just talking about unity, which is just as relevant now as it was when this album released just over 12 years ago. And again, I love the way the song builds with that acoustic guitar and Miles's honestly crooning vocal style at the beginning of the song. It makes this song really truly unique in the catalog yet again. Much like several moments on Fortress, the song brings the band's prog sensibilities to the forefront a little bit more, especially in that main riff. And just, again, the way the song builds into that grand, full, and epic sounding chorus is just, it's amazing. The song maintains the tension. It's really dramatic and full in the best way possible. And it's a highlight off of one of this band's best albums. Number 4 is another B-side, which I love. I love talking about B-sides. Last of Our Kind from The Last Hero, or Symphony of Agony. It kind of had 2 titles. I think one of the things that makes The Last Hero one of the band's more unique records is the infusion of some horror elements. You hear it on tracks like The Other Side and Crows on a Wire, but I think this song arguably does it the most. And I have no idea why it was left off the record. I think this is a highlight from the record. The riffing is so sharp. Miles' vocal delivery in the verses is fittingly somewhat haunting. I mean, the first line of the song is, there's something creeping outside your door. There's another really full, saturated, and layered sounding chorus. And then the riffing in the bridge brings in, again, really prominent thrash metal tendencies. It reminds me a lot of something that would have been on AB3. And again, I love the dark, eerie vibe of this song. That's probably the best part of it for me. Number 3, yet another B-side, Home off of AB3. This song's an interesting case study because it's definitely a very straightforward, to-the-point type song, but it's so memorable in that sense, and it still has that element of mood to it. After the first chorus, you get like these groaning, I think they're strings, and that part especially has always registered with me as especially moody. It shows something Alter Bridge does best, which is bring in some really prominent, genuine emotion into their music. And again, I have no idea why this song was left off of the main cut of the record. It's super catchy. The chorus is one of the best on the album. I think this song could have been a fucking single. I also love how some of those added melodies get thrown onto the final chorus. It gives the song a very good progression. For my number 2 pick, it might be up for debate because this song might be able to qualify as a fan favorite, but I've always thought it was stupidly underrated in the catalog. That's the Fortress title track. It's funny, with each Alter Bridge album that comes out, it really feels like they keep just trying to outdo themselves and top one after the other the epic track of the album. And this might have been, I guess, sort of the first instance of that. But it is still a career high point for the band. I love everything about this song. To me, it should be getting arguably the same treatment that the Blackbird title track gets. If anything, this song, it's more dynamic than that song, and it has a wider scope and span of emotions and span of dynamics. Again, much like several moments on Fortress, it amplifies the band's prog influence a little bit more, especially when that groove switch hits in the bridge. And right before that last moody break before the final chorus, there's a really groovy riff that comes in for like only about 10 or 15 seconds, but it's one of the best Alter Bridge riffs they ever wrote. And it makes this 7+ minute behemoth very easily repeatable, which is something that is very, very difficult to pull off. Fortress has always been a record that I like working out to a lot, especially if I'm going running outside. And when the title track hits, that's always when I get my second win because it's at the way end of the record. But, I mean, the song has some amazing lead guitar work, especially in the bridge. The chorus, again, is just really bleak and dark, and it's a great way to close this record. I think the band has gone on record that the song is meant to symbolize, quote-unquote, everything you've come to know crumbling down before you, which doesn't get darker than that. And that theme really does reflect in the soundscape of this song. And the award for the number 1 Alter Bridge deep cut for me goes to Show Me a Sign from AB3. Much like I've already said about several tracks that I talked about on AB3, this track is it's so dark, it's so moody, it hits right here every time you listen to it. The darkness and the despair rings through the vocals and the rhythm section of the guitar riffs just so well. That mini pre-chorus section where Miles just almost yells, "If you hear this cry," I mean, that itself invokes all of those different emotions that I've already spoke on. And again, the chorus, despite it being maybe tempo-wise a little bit slower, it's still catchy. And the lyrics are still endlessly memorable. When he says, "The lies I'm believing have led me so far from home," I mean, that just, it registers. Like I said about All Hope Is Gone, it really registers to anybody who I think has struggled with mental illness of any kind. I think this track touches on those themes of struggling, in particular with faith, which is something that I personally have always struggled with, so it's especially relatable in that sense. And one of my favorite moments in the Alter Bridge catalog period is at the end of the song, when Miles is just doing those vocal melodies over that really stripped down guitar part and those more techie drums. I just think that is a super creative combination of sounds, and again, it really amps up the mood of the song. So yeah, those are, according to me, the top 10 Alter Bridge deep cuts. But there could be so many different possibilities. I think everybody's list is going to be different in regards to what they would consider the best deep cuts from this band. So let me know what you agree with or disagree with in the comments, and stay tuned for more Alter Bridge content. I have several different ideas of different lists I can run down in regards to their catalog. I absolutely love this band, and it's so easy for me to talk about them. So yeah, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.